As you can see, the sausage is starting to brown. It's a recipe that I've used for years, handed down for centuries and centuries, secretly in a catacomb under the castle. Okay, it's my lie, I'll tell it the way I want. Anyway, it's a great recipe, handed down for sure, and I'm going to show you how to cook it, how to make it all so good, and everyone in your family is going to love it, I promise you. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Now, for most of this video, you'll be kind of watching over here, okay? No reason to be looking at me. You've seen my face enough. This is not your normal, excuse me, your normal frying pan. I don't usually use a normal frying pan. I like to use more of the wok style. That's because all the juices will flow into the center and they'll mix and mingle and they all get to know each other real well. What I like to do is get some sweet Italian sausage. You can use mild or hot, but I prefer the sweet. And then, of course, I use one or two of these depending on how big of a lasagna tray I'm going to make. Then, of course, you've got to use your chopped meat. You got to have your chopped meat. It's 80% lean, 20% fat. Makes a good sauce mix. You got to get the juice from the fat into the sauce in order for it to be really good. I don't suggest you use lean, like extra lean meat. It just tastes like cardboard. You know what I mean? So this is what you got to do. Now that I have the pan kind of hot, I have it on high for the moment, then extra virgin oil. Okay, always use olive oil. Don't, vegetable oil is not a good thing to use while you're cooking Italian food. It just doesn't go well. And you put in around half a cup to every pound of meat that you're using. And half a cup of olive oil to the pound of meat. Then next what you want to do is cook your sausage first. You want to get that sausage right in the pan. I did wash my hands very well. I do often, while I'm cooking, I wash my hands every few minutes. That's just out of habit, working in different restaurants. Just the way I do it. I like to keep clean in the kitchen. You put your sausage in there. Now, as you can see, the sausage is starting to brown. You keep moving it around. Always move the sausage around and break it up as you're going. You want little chunks. You can see some of them are starting to turn nice and brown. And 2 packages just about does it when you start adding the other meat. Get a little bit, I always use kosher salt. Just a little bit. That's half a teaspoon. That's going to do, that's the salt for the entire meal. That's it. Ta-da. This is the garlic that I like to use. Notice it's a lot larger than your normal garlic. It's called elephant garlic. And the only place I've ever found it was at Walmart. And it's sweeter than most garlic. A lot of garlic that you buy in the stores, it has a bitterness to it. And I don't like to, I don't like any bitterness in the food, because then it's hard to taste what the real food tastes like, because it's got that bitter flavor in it. You shuck the garlic, and it sticks to your fingers too, by the way. And depending on how you like to cut it, it comes out nice. Notice how big that garlic is. It's not your normal little tiny garlic. And 1 clove is usually just enough to do the job. Mince your garlic. Never put your finger under the knife. Notice when you cut, you curl your hand behind the knife so the blade never ever touches your fingers. You don't want that to happen. And all along, these sausages cooking. It depends on how fast you do cook. I've been doing this a long time, so I can multitask and usually not burn the house down, or at least try not to, or set a place for the fire department. One or the other. Mince your garlic, scoop it up, throw it in. Just like that. Just like that. Everything's starting to brown very nicely. A little better view there. Start to see it now. They're browning nicely. The juices of the garlic and the olive oil. See, the olive oil is very key in cooking because you want to make sure that you use good virgin olive oil. Don't use the soy oils and stuff like that. They really do affect the taste of what you're cooking. And if you don't believe it, try it sometime. Just take a little bit of the olive oil or the phony olive oil and put it in with something that has no flavor, and then taste that, just a piece of meat or something. Make several little patties and use a little bit of oil, olive oil, regular oil, or peanut oil, and it does affect the taste. Got to have black pepper. Pepper is to taste, by the way. That's up to what you like. Around a teaspoon of pepper is more than enough. We're not making chili here, we're making lasagna. And just kind of get it all mingled up. Let them say, hello, how are you, Pepper? Oh, I'm fine, Mr. Meat. Everything is good. Now that I've got that going, it's time to put the chopped meat in. Just run your blade down it. Sharpen your knives before you start, always. Have a sharpening stick. And then just drop your meat in there. And yes, I'm making a mess. And just break it up. Because later on, I'll be adding sauce to this, tomato sauce. And they'll all get together and everything will just taste delish. And this will also be the lining for the lasagna. This will be in the layers of the lasagna. But there'll be cheese, the ricotta cheese. You got to have the ricotta cheese. Not ricotta, it's ricotta. An eggplant. I'll cut that up into little pieces. That'll be one of the other layers. A nice juicy onion. Try not to use Spanish onions. Try to use the white onions. They just have a better flavor. And they don't overwhelm the dish. Now we put the onion in. Cut it up. Always take the first layer of skin off the onion because it's bitter. Usually come off pretty easily if you slice it down the side. Excuse the mess that I'm making. I will clean it up in between shots. Bring it on around. I do sharpen my knife in between using them at times. I could tell right away if a knife is losing its edge. So keep that in mind. If you're cutting and it doesn't seem to be doing the job, just sharpen your knife. Throw that in there. Yeah, I do make a mess, but I do clean up in between. Get rid of the end. The end is kind of bitter too. And you don't want them diced too small because you want some pieces in there to last through the cooking cycle. Because if you cut your onions too small, they dissolve in the sauce, and then there's a consistency that's not there, and you want that consistency when you're making your sauces and or dishes that have onions in them. Don't cut them too small unless it calls for that, unless the recipe calls for diced onions. You just mix your onions in. Garlic is already there, so it's already in the oils and the juices. Hopefully you can see that. I think you can. It should be pretty much on track. And I'm still running 6 on the stove, not too hot. No reason. It's not going to cook any faster if you put it on 8 or 6. It's just going to burn faster. The meat has to cook at the meat's time. When it's ready, it's ready. You're better off taking your time and making it taste good and not having the smoke alarms go off. A lot of times when Marie's cooking, I'll be downstairs editing and I'll hear all the smoke alarms go off. I go, oh, dinner's ready. Fire department's on the way. It's starting to look pretty good. Notice the sausage has browned. You can see that. Browned nicely. And the meat is on its way. The onions are starting to soften up. And we'll cook that for a few more minutes. And we'll talk more. The meat is cooking down very nicely. Boy, I wish you could smell this. I really do. This has a nice smell to it. I can smell the garlic in the air and the onions, and the juices are all in there, and there's just enough water from the meat and the oil that it bastes all the meat, and if you notice, you can see it's breaking down. The meat is now breaking down. There's no more of those big gigantic chunks, although there's a few, but they will break down. As you cook, you can actually tell when it's done when the meat is broken down to the right size. That's how you know it's ready for your lasagna. Most of the onions are starting to break down as well. And you just keep basting them and they'll be fine. Now here's the, what do you call that, eggplant. I forgot what it was. And I cut it down into chunks, and I'll put that on the lasagna. Not too thick, not too thin. Around that, because one thing about eggplant, unless you soak it in salt, which I try to stay away from a lot of salt. If you're making like eggplant parmesan, you should always take the skin off, because eggplants by nature are bitter. And if you're going to make an eggplant parmesan, you take the skin off, and then you sprinkle salt on them in layers, because they're in circles, in layers, and you soak it for a while in a paper towel. Put a paper towel down, put the eggplant down, put another paper towel on it, sprinkle salt, and it'll suck the bitterness right out of the eggplant. Otherwise, I'm sure you've been to places where you've had eggplant parmesan and it's bitter. And the reason it's bitter is because they didn't salt it and they didn't take the bitterness out. Curl your knuckles. See, the blade never goes past, never hurts my knuckles. You don't stick your fingers under the blade. There. Eggplant is cut. Okay, the meat has cooked down quite a bit. Everything is looking good. Now the next thing is the sauce. Now I happen to be using this, and I just discovered this by accident. This is Kroger's, their brand. It's extremely good. I can't stand, Hunt's is too bitter, gives me agita. And ragu, I would never use ragu in anything I use because it's really not good sauce. But Kroger makes a really good sauce. Put your sauce in, and I do, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment. This away. Now I'm using, this is chunky pasta sauce. It's got mushrooms and onions in it, but there's hardly anything in there. They have different varieties that you could use, different varieties of sauce. I'll also add traditional pasta sauce. It's just classic tomato. And notice the difference in the color. It's a little thicker, it has a little bit more puree in it. And then you just mix up the goodies. Mix up the goodies. Everybody introduce yourself. Like I said before, the reason I did this is because, okay, I'm always out and about getting videos for you guys all over, and I do enjoy it, I do. But today is Thanksgiving, and Marie had to work today, and I said, well, I'll cook dinner tonight, you know, and I asked, I said, do you want turkey? She says, nah. She says, you want turkey? I go, nah. I said, we already had turkey just not too long ago, so I'm kind of turkeyed out. So this is a much better alternative for us, because she loves Italian food, and I enjoy cooking it. Notice how that's starting to look. Isn't that nice? And then we could put our zucchini squash. I do have other zucchini, which I'll be layering as well. We went to the Sunrise Asian Market yesterday in Knoxville, and we got some really good Chinese squash and zucchini. Really good stuff. And you just mix these things in there, and they break down pretty quick. That's why I lowered the temperature, because I don't want them to break down. I still want them to have their overall consistency. And that will cook for a little while longer. Now this is an Asian zucchini. We got this yesterday at Sunrise Asian Market. Reference our video on Sunrise Asian Market in Knoxville. They got some really cool stuff there. Not too unlike a zucchini you would get here, but there is a little bit of a different flavor to it. And another thing, we went to Kroger yesterday in Knoxville. Wow, what a Kroger that is. I'm telling you. You know the Kroger that we have here in Pigeon Forge. You could fit 2 or more of those Krogers into this Kroger in Knoxville, right on Kingston Pike. Can't miss it. Always cut the ends off. Don't save the ends. They tend to be a little bitter. Everything focuses down there. So you just take them off. And then just cut them in similar. And notice it doesn't look quite like an eggplant, because it's not. It's a zucchini. It's part of the squash family, but it's not a zucchini. It's not an eggplant. It's got a zucchini flavor to it. Just drop them in there. Mix them all up. Now once this cooks down, I'll be able to go to the next step of what I need to do to make the lasagna. It's really easy to make lasagna. It's a little time consuming, but once you have everything laid out, you're good to go. The really only wait time is cooking up the noodles, the lasagna noodles. That's a whole nother thing. So you mix these little bad boys in here like this, let them cook down, and they're, I mean, already it's taking a nice shape. Look at that. Nice sauce, a zucchini, little onion, garlic, everything is right in there. And it's cooking down. I'm down just below a 4 right now, so that it doesn't overcook. That's one thing you don't want to do, is overcook your sauce. Now I moved over the sauce over to here, put it on low on this side of the stove, so it'll cook itself down nicely. I'll get the cover out in a moment or two, put that on there so it kind of steams itself. Now I've got the pot of water for the lasagna noodles. And always when you're cooking noodles of any kind, spaghetti, you always put in oil. This way they don't stick. You only have to put in maybe a third of a cup of oil. And then you cover it up, put it on high, keep your eye on it so it doesn't overflow, but it usually takes about 15 minutes for it to actually get to a boiling point. What I like to do is not put the cover on completely, but tilt it out this way so that the steam comes out and it goes away from any of the electronics. So you don't want to get a lot of steam up in your microwaves and stuff like that, or up on your ceiling. You want it to go out a little bit. Now I'm stirring up the pasta sauce with all the zucchini, and they're taking form very nicely, very, very nicely. Notice how the meat has broke down. There's just a few chunks of the sausage left. They will also break down, but I don't want them to break down too much. I want every bite to have something different, so that when you sink your teeth into a piece of this lasagna, you get a taste of the eggplant there, or you get a piece of the zucchini there with the onions and the garlic. Oh, it's low, so there's high. Okay, you can see it. And then put the cover on. Now that's going to steam itself and cook down very nicely. I have it at a 2, which is just warm, low warm, and that's just to keep things going in there. You don't. I'm not putting it in the refrigerator to cool it down. Although normally, if I was, I thought about making it yesterday, but I didn't have time yesterday, so I figured I'm making it today. But normally I'll make it the day before it's to be served, so that you put the sauce in the refrigerator and it cures itself. The sauce becomes extremely tasty over time. And I still have the pot of water here going. It's not boiling yet, but it's starting to steam up a little bit. That's good. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Here. There. I'll get in the picture. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We're getting very close to our numbers. I appreciate everyone who is subscribing. I really do. I thank you so much for that. Every day we get more and more subscribers. And speaking of subscribers, all subscribers you get to be on the super shout-outs. Now you see them in almost all the videos. Sometimes the video doesn't warrant having a super shout-out, a serious video. So almost all the videos have super shout-outs, and your channel and your name, because some of the people that have subscribed don't have channel videos. They just are subscribers because they like the channel, which I'm sure you have that same thing. But if you have a channel that has videos, I put the channel name on. If it's just the name that came through, I put your name on there. But your name or your channel will show up on our videos as a super shout out. That's our thanks to you for becoming a subscriber and sticking around on the channel. Hopefully you saw the latest video that I did on the Central Hotel, the historic Central Hotel in Sevierville. Good video, nice rooms, very nice place to go, and it's a 2-part series. First it's Sevierville, the renovation of Sevierville, and then the renovation of the Central Hotel, the 1890s. And they've kept that hotel very close to the 1890s. I had a comment from, I can't remember who sent it, but they had mentioned, oh, the hallways are so narrow, and yeah, it's original. It's original to the 1890s. They just refurbished the whole building, and they have to keep it structurally to some degree of its originality in order to receive funding so that they could keep resurrecting this thing to the way it was. And you saw the rooms, but they're not done yet. They haven't finished decorating them. They're not done yet, and they invited me back to come and take more video. When they finish the restaurant, they're going to have a top-notch restaurant in there, and a bar, a rooftop bar, where you can get your food up there, almost al fresco. If it was, and they're talking about potentially doing some al fresco. We'll see what happens, which means eating outside in the courtyard, which would be really cool. But check out those videos. I appreciate that. But also remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Very, very important. And hit the notification bell and put it on all. When you hit the notification bell, put on all. So every time we upload a video, you will be notified, and then we will know that you're watching our video, and we want that very much. So please do that and help us out. We're so close to getting to that 1,000. Now next what I do is, here's the tray that I use. Normally I use 2. I probably have enough to do 2, but I told Maria I was just going to do 1 tray, and that'll serve us well and probably freeze the other half. But normally I'll make 2 trays and give away 1 tray to somebody who maybe wants to try some good Italian food. You take your tray and your olive oil, and you put a little bit of olive oil in, paper towel, and you oil the bottom, oil the sides. This way the noodle that you're cooking does not stick to the side and you waste a whole bunch of noodle. Although I particularly like the crunchy sides. I don't know about you, I like the crunchy sides. But you spread your olive oil around there, and then this way the noodle will not stick to the side of the lasagna tray. And you can find these at Dollar Tree. They usually come 3 for $1, and you can make a good meal. Now this will serve 4 to 8 people, depending on the size of the lasagna that you want to serve. Now if you make 2 trays, everyone's going to have huge pieces of lasagna. And to add with our salad, that I got a mixture of salad of spinach and kale and other greenery. I got this olive mix. This is Greek olives, pimento olives, cheese, and it's in a vinegar olive oil sauce, and this tastes so good. Oh my goodness, these are so darn good. I love the Greek olives. That's darn good. They're good just to eat alone, by the way. Okay, the water is boiling, as you can see. And that's the time for the noodles. And these are, you can pick these up anywhere. Columbia makes a good one. Ronzoni makes a good one. There's a lot of them out there that make lasagna. Just make sure they're fresh. They have a freshness date on the back. You want to make sure you get a fresh one, made at least this year. Yeah. And you could probably see the water boiling. Hopefully the lens isn't steaming up. The oil is already in there, and you just pour these in. Pour them in, just like that. Okay, so the noodles are done, and you can probably see them over here, or over here. And here's the cheese. I'll move that over. And I moved the sauce over to this burner. So now I have my pan right there. Should be able to see that pretty good. You want to lay out your noodles. Remember, you already have the olive oil in there. Now some people, what they do, and normally I do sometimes, but I'll do it for you this time. You can lay a barrier of sauce in the bottom of the pan. Not meat, just sauce. You just put it in there like that. Just like that. Shake it around. Shake it, don't break it. And what that will allow is when you shovel it on out, you'll get sauce in every single bite. Now that you've got your sauce in, you lay your noodle down, and they're almost exactly 10 inches long, which is really nice. That makes it very, very convenient. And I did cool the noodles down, because normally these things are really, really hot, with cold water. It makes it easier to handle. Now you can see that I'm putting the noodle halfway over the other noodle. That's how you keep them tight. And if you follow my directions, your noodles won't break, They're actually very easy to handle. If you overcook them, they rip. They fall apart and they rip. And you don't want that. You definitely don't want that. Now, some people, I've had some people go, oh, we use cottage cheese. Please, please. This is an Italian meal. Italians don't use cottage cheese for making their lasagna. They just don't do that. No, they don't. Oh, goodness gracious. Wash my hands again. I probably have washed them 7-8 times already easily. Always keep clean. Kitchen needs to be kept clean. Now the ricotta cheese that I have, you leave it room temperature for an hour or so that it's soft. You don't want to take it right out of the refrigerator because it doesn't flow. It actually rips the noodle. So you leave it out right before you're ready to cook, right before you're ready to start doing your preparation and stuff. You take your ricotta cheese out and you leave it on the counter, and it will it'll soften up nicely. You want it at room temperature, and it's not going to go bad, so don't worry about that. Now what you want to do is you have your noodle down, you have the sauce under the noodle, pan is nicely greased up. You want to take your ricotta cheese with a spoon, and you could use the low skim or you could use the regular ricotta cheese. I try to keep away from the too much fat, otherwise it just is too much, but you can use the regular ricotta cheese or the low fat ricotta cheese. And you want to lay just enough that you can spread it out on the noodle. And you just comb it around just to get that noodle covered. Right to the edges. Right to the edges. So that when you put this in the oven, all of this stuff will melt together. It will be fantabulous. Then, I don't know if you can see this. I'd like to get it all in the picture. Yeah, that should be about right. You should be able to get all of that. Then you take your saucy sauce stuff and just put it in there with all the meats. Spread it out. You want to get a good layer of sauce in there with the meat and the vegetables, and just pat it lightly. Notice I'm just I'm daubing it. You want to get it equal. Just like that. Nah. Then you get your mozzarella cheese, low moisture, part skim. Now you can use the regular stuff that has everything's the same, but it just has the fat skimmed off. And you're going to need a big bag if you're going to do it right. And then you just layer the mozzarella cheese in there. Just like that. Now, you can add lots of other stuff to a lasagna. A lasagna doesn't have to be strictly one way. You can add, some people add pepperoni, ham. I've added everything in this stuff. And it's going to be good. No matter what you do, it's going to be good. Now, another thing you add to it is your greens. We already have the eggplant, we already have the zucchini, but you add the spinach if you want. I like spinach. It cooks better. It's not bitter. Don't ever use lettuce. Ever. Lettuce is not to be used in a lasagna. And then you just sprinkle some spinach in there. You lay it out. This will also give the lasagna a consistency. It'll hold together better. Now, if you don't like spinach, all right, fine. Don't do it. Put peanut butter in there if you want. I don't care. Now, there you got your green on top. Everything looks wonderful. Wonderful. Now, what I like to do is make sure, because nothing tastes better on spinach than a little bit of sauce. So you put some of that on there as well. It all gets mixed in. This, you're not going to find this at Olive Garden, folks. Now, I'm telling you now, you won't be finding this kind of lasagna at Olive Garden. They don't take the time to make it. That's fast food Italian. This is real Italian. See, I got the eggplants in there. I got the sauce around the edges. Everything looks wonderful. Wonderful. Now, here's the other magic. Notice when I first laid it out, I put the noodles this way. Now you put the noodles this way. Just pat them down lightly. The reason for that is it holds the lasagna together. If you do them straight, they slide off when you cut them. This will keep the lasagna in its form that you created it. Halfway over the noodle. Halfway over the noodle. And these stay together very, very nicely. No breakage yet. You do get breakage in the noodles, it's just the way they are. You know, they just, because they're so thick. This is a hearty meal. And after one piece of this, most people are done. You are done. That salad and garlic bread, you are full and you are happy. Get another one in here. Just like that. And you want to cover the edges, okay? And you trim them off later on. You just trim that stuff off. And you can readjust if you want. Sometimes I do. Just to make them all fit. That's all. There you go. Now they're all fit. And remember, wash your hands often, okay? Now that's almost to the top, as you can see, right? Almost there. But we're not done yet. And while I had the camera paused, I did turn the oven on, 375, preheating the oven. Going into my second tub of ricotta cheese. And it's nice in room temperature right now. Perfect. Perfect for spreading. I mean, it could actually be a little warmer. I wouldn't mind it being just a little warmer. And you can always put it in the microwave for 30, 60 seconds and that'll warm it right up. Spread that cheese around. Spread it around. Spread the love around. I've tried to teach Marie how to do this, but she hasn't quite figured it out yet. She makes a great Asian meal, Filipino meal and stuff. A great Filipino meal. Well, we were at the Asian food store yesterday. She bought so much fish. I can't tell you how much fish she bought. Octopus, fish, all different types. She loves to eat fish. I'm not a big fish eater, so she makes the dishes pretty much for herself. And that's okay. I don't have any problem with that. All right, now that we've got the ricotta cheese, now, yes, you've got to put the saucy sauce on. And it's been cooking down really nice too. Really, really nice. Look at that. Look at that. And being I'm left-handed, I know sometimes I cast a shadow, I'm sorry. But you put your saucy sauce on, spread it about. I used to make pizza. I used to manage Papa Joe's Pizza, Pasta, and Subs in Spring Lake, Florida. And my goodness, did I make... he wouldn't let me make my lasagna. I had to make his lasagna. And mine is better anyway. His was very simple, very Olive Garden-y, and I tried arguing the point that you got to give people what they came here for, a lasagna, a good lasagna. Then, of course, you get your cheese, your mozzarella cheese, put that over the top. This is such a hearty meal. And it lasts for days. Well, it lasts for days if you, just me and Marie. But you got a big family, it'll be gone. It will be gone. I've never made a lasagna that wasn't completely eaten by the time we left the place. Because usually, when all my family was still alive, they're not all alive, there's just a few of them, I would make lasagna or bake ziti. And by the end of the night, it was all gone. There was plenty of turkey left, plenty of ham left, but the lasagna or the baked ziti was gone. People go, do you have any more? I go, no, I made 2 giant trays. What else more do you want? Now, what you want is Parmesan topping on the last one. You don't want to put it on the other ones. You want to put it on the last one. What it does is it adds another layer of flavor. And you want to do that. You want these layers of flavor. Now, normally, if we were getting together with a family, I would use the big deep dish lasagna, and I'd make maybe 5 or 7 layer lasagna, and it'd be all different meats and different cheeses. There'd be layers of provolone cheese, layers of mozzarella cheese, layers of all different vegetables, and that would cook, and it's really, really good. But this is just for Marie and I wanted to make a basic lasagna. Now that we got that all done, now you could, if you want, as basically a garnish, it's not necessary for the meal, lay out a few more pieces of spinach, just along the top here, just like it is. Like it is. Got plenty to make salad. I love spinach. I love just eating spinach. Spinach sandwich is really good. And then what you do is you take some more of your deliciousness sauce, and you don't baste the whole thing. You just put a topping like this. Look at that. Tell me that doesn't look good. Your mouth is watering. I know it is, because mine is. The good thing about making this stuff, I get to taste it. I get to taste all this stuff. And I do, it wasn't on camera, but I taste the meats and the cheeses, and you just lightly pat it down, just a little bit. You don't want to make it overwhelmed, because you want to show the cheese, you want to show the brown noodles when they come out of the oven, just like that. Look at that. Tell me that's not great. Oh, this is going to taste so good. There. That's completed as its dish, but now it has to go into the oven. And next time you see it, it'll be out of the oven. Here is the finished product. I did sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan cheese over the top, that very special Parmesan cheese. And now the oven is at 375, and you're going to put this in the oven for approximately 45 minutes, or until it's cooking. You can actually see it cooking, and the edges will be brown. And it's okay if the edges are brown. That's not a problem. You just want to make sure the center cooks. So 45 minutes, 375, and this thing will be done. There is the finished lasagna. Just look at that. In all its delicious goodness. Cheese is melted perfectly. Just right. Look how mouth-watering that is. Is that not a nice lasagna? And there is the finished product. That. I enjoyed making it for you. Now, if you'd like to see me cook other stuff, and if you like this, just let me know. And when I start doing my other stuff, I cook all the time. I'll be more than glad to include you. And I want to thank you all for joining me on Vacation Station TV, your virtual getaway. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. And until we do it again, I'll see you again really, really soon.